Today, I wanted to talk about something. ALS is now the biggest anime tower defense game on Roblox, officially surpassing Anime Vanguards, AnimeDefenders, Anime Royale, Anime Reborn, and every other tower defense game that came before it or even after it. By the way guys, don't forget to like and subscribe because we're trying to reach 100k subscribers, and by subscribing before we get to 100k, you can officially be an OG member of ABplays. So don't forget to like and subscribe. We're super close to 60k. Eventually, I trust we can get to 100k as well. Let's get this video started. So I wanted to talk about this because I don't think anybody has made a video on this specific topic just yet. And I feel like I've really wanted to make this video ever since Anime Vanguard's Update 6 released. I really wanted to make this video, and yeah, I'm making it right now. So, Anime Last Stand is significantly doing much better than Anime Vanguards right now in terms of players. By the way, before I continue, I'm not saying that Anime Last Stand is a better game than Anime Vanguards, but I am saying that Anime Last Stand is currently the bigger tower defense game compared to Anime Vanguards, and the player count shows this, and it's not even close. Anime Last Stand is at 55,000 players, while Anime Vanguards is at 35,000 players. And even when Anime Vanguards released Update 6, they didn't even manage to break 50k that much. They were basically just averaging 40k. Here, Anime Last Stand is sitting at 55,000, which is actually insanely good for Anime Last Stand. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I also wanted to point at what Anime Vanguards could be doing and what Anime Last Stand could also be doing in order to maintain their lead as the biggest tower defense game on Roblox. So let's actually start with Anime Last Stand first, because I think there's a lot of things that they could genuinely improve. Starting with the first things that I actually noticed, which is the weekly updates. The weekly updates, in my opinion, is not really the best, as it just makes it a lot harder for newer players to get into the game. And it does alienate a lot of people who want to kind of take a break. Like in Anime Last Stand, if you quit for like a week or two, after like 3 weeks, there's gonna be so much new things you need to grind in order to get to the new content. So it's basically a requirement to grind in ALS if you want to stay in the curve or if you want to stay in the game. And if you stop grinding, eventually you're gonna fall behind and it's gonna be much harder to get into the game. Apart from that, the ludicrous power creep is also apparently really bad in Anime Last Stand. Obviously, the godlies can still be pretty good for a long period of time, but for units that are not godlies, they do get power crept after a while. But honestly, after grinding in Anime Last Stand with 3 times speed, it's actually not as hard as people are claiming it to be. But it definitely still is an issue that they can fix. I feel like if Anime Last Stand just locked in, did bi-weekly updates, which means updates every 2 weeks, instead of an update every week, they would not only make their power creep better, but it would also make other players be more interested into the game because they wouldn't have to grind as much in order to stay ahead in Anime Last Stand. So I feel like implementing those 2 simple changes or fixes for those 2 simple things would definitely allow Anime Last Stand to keep doing better, because Anime Last Stand right now, with the way they're doing content and the way they're doing things, they're definitely doing a lot of things right, but those 2 things have to get fixed. Now let's move on to Anime Vanguards and the thing that Anime Vanguards could be doing right. The recent update of Anime Vanguards Update 6 added Guilty Gear, which is an extremely niche anime, and this is definitely a risk that they took, and it's a risk that did not pay off very well, because the update 6 flopped really hard. Not only did people not really play the update, but the update 6 released and it was very buggy, and it broke so many things for a lot of players, which basically this update took them like 6 weeks to work on or something like that, and it's still released kind of broken. It was definitely a big hit on them and even on their player counts. What Anime Vanguards has to do, at least right now, is focus on maybe improving their update schedule release, which during my talks with the Anime Vanguards developers, this is something that they are trying to do already. And also implement more mainstream anime choices, which if you haven't seen the new Vanguard choice yet, Kaguya, they are 100% listening to this. Anime Vanguards, I have almost no doubt, can eventually take their spot as the biggest tower defense game in Roblox, only because Anime Vanguards developers are really great at listening to the criticism of community, criticism of content creators. They're really great at taking criticism and listening. They really do implement these changes, and this is not the first time that Anime Last Stand passed AV in terms of players, but AV is just really great at making comebacks, and the developers are really passionate about what they do, so I do believe that they'll eventually be able to take this spot. but they have to, in my opinion, start fixing their update schedule and, stop, taking 4 to 3 weeks before an update release, and maybe implementing more mainstream anime choices. Both of the two things that I mentioned for AV are things that they're already going to be doing, as they mentioned in their previous stage, which is really, really exciting. Now, I wanted to talk about why Anime Last Stand is so ahead of AV right now and basically all these other anime tower defense games. One thing that I want to mention with Anime Last Stand is it's one of the oldest tower defense games right now that's still alive in Roblox. To put that into perspective, ALS released before AV, ALS released before AnimeDefenders, ALS released before Anime Reborn and Anime Royale, ALS released before the re-release of AA, and ALS is doing better than every single last one of them right now. And this all boils down to, in my opinion, ALS's, especially the development team of ALS, insane update schedule and work ethic. I genuinely don't know how they update weekly, because weekly updates is ludicrous for a game like ALS. Like, they're out here producing updates every single week. It's genuinely crazy how they can do this. So it's this work ethic and commitment and consistency that has allowed ALS, in my opinion, to really take the lead compared with these other tower defense games. But it's also not just the consistency. This is, after all, a Roblox game, and in Roblox, it's not really the best games that does well. Like, if you take a look at the top games right now, it's Grow a Garden, Blocks Fruits. Those two games are not necessarily bad games. Some people might say they're bad, but they're definitely not the best games on Roblox. And it's not really the best games that win or become really big in Roblox. Rather, it's the games that are simple and enticing enough for the kids, and simple enough for the kids, that do really, really well on Roblox. And that's exactly what Anime Last Stand is, in my opinion. In my opinion, Anime Last Stand doesn't take risks. It doesn't do, creative things like Anime Vanguards does. They don't do new things. They stick with what they know works, and they try and keep it simple. And because of this, they, have managed to really get big, much bigger than all the other tower defense games on Roblox, and stay alive as well. If you take a look at Anime Last Stand in comparison to Anime Vanguards, and this is one of the reasons why I did say in the beginning that Anime Vanguards is, in my opinion, still better than ALS. ALS is bigger right now only because it's a much much more child-friendly game compared to Anime Vanguards, and it is a game that really, really is tailored towards a community of kids rather than a community of people who actually want to play stuff like in Anime Vanguards. And this is probably why they're doing so well in terms of numbers right now, obviously apart from their insane consistency and work ethic. Now, that's gonna be it for today's video. I really just wanted to make this video about Anime Last Stand because I'm really happy that Anime Last Stand is doing this well, because just about a few months ago, they really weren't doing that good, and now they're doing insanely well again, which is just really, really, really nice to see. Congrats to the Anime Last Stand developers and owners, and yeah, hope you guys listen to suggestions and this game keeps getting better. I'll see you in the next one, guys.